Hi friends, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Hannah and I live tiny with our family of 8 in a shed to homestead conversion. Here on my channel we have shared our journey from moving into a teeny tiny little shed to building our homestead to adding on to the house. But now I spend most of my videos discussing being a biblical wife and a biblical mom because those things are near and dear to my heart. In my Instagram subscriptions and my membership here on YouTube, I've been doing deeper dives into marriage, and I just wanted to give more of a encapsulating video here for you guys. But if you want to join the deeper dives, please feel free to do so. It's the same across both platforms. So let's get right into it. Timeless secrets for capturing your husband's heart. What if I told you that the key to reigniting the spark in your marriage was not based on what your husband is doing, but what you can do? I believe that roles in marriage and motherhood allow us to become the best versions of ourselves. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the first tenet I want to talk about is respect and admiration. Respect is absolutely foundational to a man's sense of security and love. And we all know this to be true, that men need to feel respected and women need to feel loved. Ultimately, that boils down to how admired he feels by you. Men so badly want to be heroes in our eyes. They want to feel that we are approving and affirming and their biggest cheerleaders, their biggest supporters, because we believe in them. So it is important that we take action steps like not being critiquing, but being more careful to verbalize gratitude and say, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it when you do that. You need to just treat him like he is your superhero and let him know that you only see him as a wonderful protector and provider. It will just, like I've said, put concrete in his muscles and put creativity in his veins. And it's also important that you don't try to compete with him or undermine him, especially when you're in front of your kids. Sorry, there's a loud car driving by and I have the window open for some fresh air. And I talk about this a good bit on my subscription page. It helps so very much to begin a list, writing down a list of all the things that you admire, appreciate, and desire about your husband. Aim to write 10 to 20 a day. I know that seems like a lot, but it's really not. And if you train your mind to look for things to put on that list, you will notice so many wonderful things that your husband does. Even if you think there's not much, there's more than you think. And you can start with minor things like he puts gas in the car, he cleans the filters, make sure the pipes don't bust, takes out the garbage. Whatever it is, start with those things and then add on. And soon you will see just how much he really does get right and how much he contributes to the home and the marriage. And that becomes a highlighter in your brain that starts to search for all the things he does right, and it will warm your heart towards him, help you re-fall in love with that man all over again, and he's going to sense a change in how you see him, and it's going to draw you guys closer together. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, tenet number 2 is embracing femininity and your wonderful girly charm. Things like femininity, softness, and playfulness evoke tenderness in a man's soul. They actually help him be more masculine and more affectionate as you step into your femininity. And it is worth it to do your best to cultivate a graceful demeanor and a softness to your voice. Prioritize your appearance without feeling guilty about it. Prioritize beauty and neatness and wear outfits that make you feel confident and that he finds attractive, because we know our men are visual creatures. Whether or not the world wants to admit it, looking nice for your husband is loving him well. It is not just how you dress, it's your attitude. It's that having that girlfriend-like quality of being playful and flirty and fun. You want to keep that same energy flowing. I'm just referring to my notes. Tenet 3 is gratitude and positive focus. And I've already talked about this. It helps so much when you are writing lists that just reaffirm in your mind just how wonderful your husband is. And it does help to create healthier neural grooves in your brain that associate with your husband and how wonderful of a person he is. More than that, we have to take it a step further and make sure that we are verbalizing the things we appreciate and admire about our men. Be sure to say things like, You know, I don't know if I've said this recently, but I so appreciate how hard you work and that the paycheck that you bring home gives me a sense of security. And I just want to thank you for providing me with the opportunity to be home with our children or whatever your situation is. Just be sure to thank him and express gratitude. And it helps to not just say one sentence, but to say a full paragraph. Just really push yourself to keep finding wonderful and encouraging and affirming things to say to him. And if this is not your habit, he may look at you like, huh? But it's okay. Let it become your new normal. Let him get used to you building him up. I promise it's a good thing. Tenet number 4, I'm looking down at my notes, is to create a peaceful home. I know when you have kids, the idea of having a peaceful home may sound counterintuitive, but it can be done. It absolutely can be done. It may take time to foster that kind of environment, but it is totally worth that investment in your time and your energy to cultivate a peaceful home. Or, you know, it doesn't even necessarily have to be just like less sound. You could have peaceful music playing and candles going and his favorite meals cooked and ready for dinner. It can also be more of a sense of respect. You as the mom can model obedience and respect and submission when it comes to your husband by always speaking to him with a kind and respectful tone and telling the kids not to interrupt dad, let him speak first. And when the kids have a question, say, well, you know what, you should ask your dad. Your dad always has really good opinions, or be sure to run that by your dad. I know he'll give you the right answer. And let your husband hear these things. It is so important for them to see how much you love and respect their dad, and it's good for him to hear it as well. And to know, based on how you point the kids in his direction, that you see him as a leader, and that will help him step into that role. I've said it before on my channel. Not a lot of men will take the scepter. They haven't been taught how to take the scepter and be the king of their little private kingdom. But a wise woman hands her husband the scepter, and she trusts him and trusts in the father's ability to guide and lead him. Which brings me to my next tenet, which is trust leadership and have biblical submission. If you haven't, please watch my video on biblical submission. It's not passivity. It's not about losing your voice. It's about trusting the system that our Heavenly Creator put in place for our protection. Biblical submission does not work without partnership and mutual trust and respect. And I know a lot of women will say, well, I will submit when he loves me the way, you know, he's supposed to. You might wind up waiting forever if that's your mindset. We can only control ourselves. It's on us to do what we can to have healthy relationships. Someone has to take the first step. And if you have it in you, you know you're capable of growing and there's more that you could be doing. It's up to you, based on your walk with the Creator, to step into everything you were created to be. And when you're doing your half, you'll be amazed at how much your husband turns and starts walking in his role as well. And under the umbrella of submission, we have to do our best to avoid things like critiquing and nagging and giving a lot of helpful suggestions that were not asked for. I think there's a reason that the Bible tells us to serve our husbands with gentle and quiet examples. When you are sweet and soft and approachable, you'll be amazed at how much your husband goes to you and wants to hear your opinion. But he should know that ultimately you trust him to make the final decision. And it very well may be what you said, but you put it in his hands. You let him be the leader. And it's a really beautiful setup. It winds up building a much deeper bond between you two. And it will also build your bond with the Heavenly Creator because you're leaning on him to lead your husband. And the last tenet I want to talk about is personal growth and self-discovery. Often we can put a little too much pressure on our husbands to be our key support system and our best friend. I have learned through self-discovery and personal development that frankly, I am my own best friend. I mean, I have close friends and I'm very grateful for them, but ultimately now through growing so much in my spiritual walk, I have a very rich inner life, and it's easy for me as an introvert, but I don't feel that I need someone else in order to feel fulfilled or to have validation or an identity. And there are some women who expect their husbands to make up so very much of their inner circle that it winds up being a big drain on their husbands, we have to know how to keep ourselves happy and healthy. And I'm not saying that your husband shouldn't put your happiness first. He absolutely should. I'm just saying you shouldn't depend on someone else to be the source of your happiness, if that makes sense. I hope it does. We have to find things that fill our cups. And I did post a video on that as well. A joyful, fulfilled woman is naturally much more attractive than a woman who is constantly needing validation or needing her husband's attention. It's so good for you to have a passion outside of your marriage that gives you so much creativity and so many things to do to keep you busy that it almost makes your husband curious, and it gives him another reason to chase you like he did when you were dating and wonder what's going on with you. Having hobbies, skills, talents, and passions outside of your relationship will give you so much inner confidence, and it gives you guys more to talk about, and it gives him more things to wonder about you. It helps keep some of the excitement alive in your relationship. So to conclude, I just want to say it is never ever too late to have a wonderful, life-giving, amazing marriage. I am so very, very grateful for my husband. I love our relationship. We are so happy with one another and so at peace, and we just keep each other thriving, and I'm so very, very grateful. And by focusing on respect, admiration, and personal growth, you can keep your marriage so very strong, and you inspire your husband to fall in love with you all over again. And also importantly, you rediscover your love for him. I want you to start with taking small, intentional steps. Start with your lists. Start writing down every single day things that you appreciate, admire, and adore about your man, and start doing your best to dress in a way that makes you feel confident and womanly and you know. And see what you can do to cultivate an environment that makes your husband feel at peace, makes him feel calm, and makes him feel respected, like he is the king of his kingdom. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're enjoying the marriage content, please let me know. If you have any helpful suggestions on deeper dives we can do involving marriage, please let me know in the comments below. If you found anything in this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing and sharing it with someone you think will also be blessed by it. Thank you and have a wonderful day.